Grandpa wasn't a very good housekeeper.
This whole countryside is tied up with American history. That road that came along, that's the old York Road. The Continental Congress used it going to Philadelphia. Washington crossed the Delaware only a little ways from here. Don't you get a kind of a thrill, Annabelle?
What's the matter with you, Newton? You knew you were in America.
I know, but I get a kick out of these things. That old graveyard we just passed, full of colonial soldiers. My, think of what happened right around here. Say, if only these walls could talk.
Oh, if they could, there'd probably be a commercial with it. Now, come on, we better get going.
Wait a minute, I want Madge to see this. Oh, Madge! There you are.
All right, Dad. I'm ready to see exactly where Washington slept. Not in here, I take it.
Look at this whole place, Madge. Isn't it wonderful?
You know, there's some poison ivy out there that I bet goes right back to the Revolution.
Madge, Steve, look at this fireplace. And look at the way those windows are set. Those walls are 20 inches thick. I tell you, they built houses in those days. And did you notice the outside, Madge? Do you know how old that stonework is? Over 200 years.
Yes, it did, Dad. It's lovely.
My, did I get a kick out of this? Look at this floor, Annabelle. Hand-pegged. Not a nail in it.
Yes. Now let's get going and leave the stonework alone for another 200 years.
And right about a half a mile from here.
Newton, buy me a book on American history and I'll read it back on West 97th Street. Right now, I'm hot and hungry.
Annabelle!
Newton, we have seen the house.
Annabelle, I bought it.
What was that?
It's yours.
Dad, you mean it?
Newton, did I hear you correctly? You have bought this outhouse?
What hours?
Steve, I'd like you to meet my father, the brave, kinder spirit of the family. Please, Matthew. Newton, do you mean to tell me that without talking to anyone, without consulting me at all, you have taken our money and gone ahead and, I think you've lost your mind.
Come on, Mother, give in. It's exciting. This house could be all ours. We can make this place wonderful.
But I hate the country. You know I hate the country.
Mother, you never lived in the country. How do you know? Steve, let's go upstairs. I want to pick out the best bedroom for myself.
Be careful up there, miss. Some of them floors fell in last winter.
Oh, they did. Hey, you better go first, man.
It may not be dead, but it's in a bad way.
You've taken what little we have and you must be crazy. Why? That's all I want to know. Why?
Well, I had this feeling that I wanted something I could hang on to, like a home and a piece of land that's real, that lasts as long as anything lasts. Look at this house. It was standing here when this country started, and it's standing here today. And the way things are now, it's pretty wonderful to come back to a thing like this. That's why I wanted it, Annabelle. I wanted it for all of us. Annabelle, don't be angry. Say you're not angry, please.
Angry? Why, I could spit from here to Mount Vernon. Look at this place. Just look at it.
But I got it at a terrific bargain, Annabelle. It was a terrific bargain.
More than $1?
We'll just wait and see it in a month from now, and it's all fixed up. We're going to do the whole thing with local labor. Aren't we, Mr. Kimber? Mr. Kimber's going to superintend the whole thing.
200 years, too?
What's that?
You just wait, Annabelle. You're going to be crazy about it.
You know, they ought to be down here in a minute. There are no floors.
The rooms are tiny, Mother. You get a lovely view from each of them, though. Love this place, Dad.
You could break down a wall and get 2 wonderful rooms. It wouldn't be a hard job at all.
There, you see?
Steve, let's go to the barn. If the light's right, maybe I can have a studio out there.
Watch out in that barn. One of them walls is caving in.
That's the dining room?
No, that's right, that is. It's a tool shed now. We can make it into a dining room.
Tell me the worst. Is there a kitchen?
Oh, there's a nice big kitchen, Annabelle. There may be one of Mr. Kimber's cows in it now.
If it's as big as you say, Miss Newton, I'm sure there'll be room for all of us.
Hope everything's all right out there. Watch out, Annabelle!
Oh, shut up!
Mr. Kimber, or Mr. Fuller.
Why, of course we have. What about the well? Mr. Henderson said it was the deepest in the whole county.
Well, it's deep, all right. There ain't no water in it.
Well, I'm certainly going to speak to him. Can't you see the possibilities, Annabelle? Look, Mr. Kimber, let's not say anything to Mrs. Fuller about the water.
All right, but she won't find out as soon as she wants a drink of water.
Isn't there any water anywhere?
Well, there's the brook. You have to bring it up a bucket full at a time. Mrs. Fuller probably won't like that.
No. Look, Mr. Kimber, can't we just dig another well and find water?
Nothing to stop you from doing that.
Well, there you are. Then we've got water. Gosh, I wish I could go right out and dig it myself. Ah, Mr. Kimber, you don't know what this does to a man. You've lived in the country all your life. But I tell you, when you've been cooped up in the city ever since you were born, just the feel of walking on your own piece of land, why, I own all this, Mr. Kimber. Every bit of it. Those trees and the brook and this house. Why, I can hardly believe it. I want to learn all the things that you know, Mr. Kimber. The names of the trees and birds. I want to see the seasons change right with my own eyes. I want to find out for myself that summer is here instead of getting a cold from the air cooling at the music hall. Gosh, I can see myself coming down my road on an autumn night. The smell of the leaves burning, coming in and lighting that fire. Maybe it's raining outside. I can tell you, Mr. Kimber, this is the finest thing that has ever happened to me.
You're going to need a cesspool, too, Mr. Fuller.
Go ahead and get one, Mr. Kimber. Get the best. You see, that's just what I mean. Whatever you do to a place, whatever you put into it, why, it's yours. Gives you something to work for. Yes, sir. I can see myself ending my days right here. I can hear him saying, here's the old Fuller place right up the road here. Ever met old man Fuller? Couldn't meet a nicer old codger. Been here 35 years. Don't know what we'd do without him. Yes, sir.
Excuse me, Mr. Fuller. My cow's trying to get into your car.
Get away from there, bossy. Get away. Get away now.
Yes, sir. Been here 35 years. Should have seen this place when I bought it. Wouldn't believe it.
When George Washington slept here, where did he hang his clothes? There's not a closet in the place. George Washington also apparently never had to go to the bathroom.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, Annabelle. There aren't any just yet.
What are we supposed to do? Run back to the apartment?
The barn's perfect, Dad. It won't smell like a studio, but I can still paint it. And Steve says the room will be damp enough to make a wonderful swimming place.
You know what I'll do? I'll bring my surveying instruments down, fix you up a swimming pool, and mooch off you all summer. I think this place is great, Mr. Fuller.
There, you see, Annabelle? Why, I can hardly wait to get to work on it. Let's take some of these boards down right now.
See that nail?
Yeah, I'm all right. Boy, can you imagine that fireplace with a big roaring fire? Oh, this. Oh, gee.
Jeez. Oh, it's not a shame. Here.
See my shaving kit match?
Throw away a book?
Have you seen that screwdriver, Mr. Fuller?
I have it, Steve. It's around here somewhere. Try the bookcase back here. Oh, I see. This is us. It's over here.
stand up any longer.
Well, I'm gonna take these off.
Gosh, I'm so full of pep. This air out here. I could tear a house down.
Start with this one.
I'll get this china out. Steve, did you find that screwdriver?
Oh,
God,
They got these boxes all wrong.
Newton, why don't you sit down for a while?
I'm fresh as a daisy.
You've done enough. Had to get out here, give up the apartment, and be out by June 15th. Everything will be ready. Oh, sure. Everything except the bedroom, bathroom, dining room, kitchen, walls, floors, ceilings. Steve, for God's sake.
I'm afraid you're gonna have trouble getting a good reception out here.
I'm sure we are.
Oh, you always have a few little inconveniences, Annabelle. But if you just, work through them. You know what that is? That's a yellow-breasted barn swallow. Has a triple call. It'll come 3 times now. Shh. Listen.
That's not the same bird, is it, Newton? Oh, I suppose they're going to be drooling for water all summer.
Mr. Kipper says this well looks very promising. I think we're really going to strike it this time.
No one else in the world would buy a house without water. Only you, Newton.
Ah, smell that air. Look how green everything is. I think that I shall never see a home as lovely as a tree.
Well, where's that hot water bag? Here's your tuxedo.
Needs pressing. To take care of these books pretty soon, Annabelle. I think I'll put that bookcase up myself. Ah, A Study in Scarlet by A. Conan Doyle. I haven't read this book in years.
You astound me, Watson, said Holmes, drawing deeply on his meerschaum. Surely the clues are very plain. Watson looked embarrassed.
I quit.
What's the matter, Katie?
I can't work in that kitchen, Mrs. Fuller. Nobody can.
Oh, no, don't get yourself all upset, Katie.
I'm scared to work there.
Scared?
Why, what is it?
A horse just walked in.
Oh, well, Katie, as soon as that wall goes up, it'll never happen again.
Ha! No stove, no sink, no pots and pans, no water even. I gotta bring it up in pails.
Now, Katie, please be patient just for a few more days, please.
Well,
Katie, what would you say to making us all a great big pitcher of iced tea?
Oh, but Katie's much too busy now, Madge.
We don't want any iced tea, Katie. Why don't you go sit in the sun for a while?
ha! That kitchen's sunny enough with no wall art.
What? What's the matter with Katie?
Local labor. Oh, that reminds me. What do we hear from the mob?
Well, Mr. Kipper says they'll be ready to start work any day now. If it hadn't been for Mr. Prescott's greenhouse, we'd have been finished right on time. Mr. Prescott just took all the men away. It wasn't Mr. Kipper's fault, Annabelle.
No.
That reminds me, I met our next door neighbor this morning.
Oh, isn't that nice? Did you see Mr. Prescott? What did he say?
Well, he told us we were trespassing on his property and that he would thank us to get off. So we got off.
I don't think he exactly relishes the presence of poor white trash shown nearby.
Isn't that nice?
Come on, man. I'll teach you something about surveying. I'm going to fix you up a place to swim if it's the only thing you've got. At least the brook's got water.
Need me for a few minutes?
No, run along and drown in the brook. At least one of us will have water.
It's 10 to 4. We've got an hour yet. Are you sure about that train, Mr. Fuller?
Yes, sir. 538. It's an express. Here we are, 538 Express. Oh, does not run after April 21st. Let's see, there must be another one. Here we are. No, that goes the other way. 5:46 a.m.
Yeah.
Say, this is funny. 10:54.
10:54. Nothing before that?
Why don't you stay the night, Steve?
Might as well, Steve.
You're trapped like a rat.
Well, I guess I better. What train can I get in the morning?
All right, morning trains. 5:46 a.m. 5:46. 5:46. After the 5:46, nothing until 1:20 in the afternoon.
God, that's kind of a... cake I laid one tonight. I'm not getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Come on, Madge.
Fine thing that. Why didn't you find out about the trains?
I wonder why they took that train off.
Oh, Newton, why don't you spend the summer in the city? At least you'll get some sleep.
I asked Mr. Henderson before I bought this place. I said, could you commute? And he said, yes, you certainly could.
Well, you can commute. You'll get to the office at 6:45 in the morning, or take a Pullman out here at night to get some sleep. I'm afraid you won't see much of the double-breasted barn swallow, Newton, but you can commute.
Mr. Fuller, got some good news, Mr. Fuller.
No kidding. Hear that, Annabelle? What is it, Mr. Kimber?
Well, sir, we drilled down 420 feet. What do you think? We just struck mud.
What?
Oh, that's wonderful. Bring me a nice big glass of it.
What, huh? Was that good, Mr. Kimber?
Well, it's the best thing we struck so far.
Oh, I can just see it on a hot August night when I say to Katie,
Katie, bring us a nice big pitcher of ice mud.
Well, Mrs. Fuller, if you strike mud, there's usually water around somewhere.
I think we really got a hold of something, eh, Mr. Kimber?
Certainly do.
Wonderful. Tell them to drill hard, Mr. Kimber, full speed ahead, and let the water gush where it may.
Yes, sir.
Is
Oh,
there anything else, Mr. Kimber?
yes, a couple of things. I got that gravel we ordered. We're going to need another load, though. Comes a little bit more than we figured. Let's see. We figured $42 a load. Comes to $135. But then we won't need gravel for another couple of years. We figured a little wrong on the lime, too. Price of lime went up since I spoke to you last. Be about $75 more than we figured.
Uh-huh.
Then there's the trees, Mr. Fuller. Gotta do something about them trees pretty soon.
Just a minute, Mr. Kimber. What do we have to do about the trees? Pay them for standing here?
Oh, man, you gotta spray them. You see them elm trees down there? Well, they could get the elm blight. And them oak trees down by the brook, they could get the oak ball. And then there's the willow tree. It's got a canker in it already. And there's tent caterpillars and the measuring worm.
Well, I didn't know that about trees, Mr. Kimber.
Why, sure, Newton. See, the measuring worm measures how much money you have. Gets in touch with Mr. Kimber. And pretty soon, we're living in a tent with those caterpillars.
Then there's the Japanese beetle. They only come along about July 1st.
Now, let me see if I've got this straight. All the trees have to be sprayed, Mr. Kimber?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, who runs through the woods and sprays those trees? They seem to be doing all right.
I don't know, ma'am. All I know is trees have got to be sprayed.
Annabelle, if Mr. Kimber says the trees need to be sprayed, why, he knows.
If he knows, why doesn't he answer my question? Who sprays the trees in the woods?
What else was there, Mr. Kimber? We'll talk about the trees later.
He ought to be sprayed, if you ask me.
Yes, well, we're going to need a couple truckloads of manure. That's about $45 a load now.
Why, would a bargain wasn't on sale?
And then we're going to need about 6 truckloads of dirt.
Dirt. Well, if there's one thing this place has got, it's dirt. And we're not going to buy any.
But Annabelle, it's not just dirt. It's a special kind of dirt.
I understand we don't have water. All right. But to find out we don't have any dirt, that's just too much.
Thank you, Mr. Kimber. I'll see you later.
Yes, sir. Oh, 17-year locusts. They won't be here till August, so we don't have to worry about them yet.
17 locusts, too.
Well, they only come every 17 years, Annabelle.
Oh, sure, I can just see it now. Last year, one locust saying to the other, just one more year and Newton Fuller will buy that old place. One more year and we'll all go up and meet at Newton Fuller's house. Let's see, the Japanese beetles and the measuring worms and the tent caterpillars. Oh, we're all going to have one hell of a time.
Annabelle, sometimes I just don't understand you. Here you are, face to face with the most wonderful thing in the world, nature. And all you see are a few insignificant little trivialities. Why, you've got a grandstand seat at the greatest show in the world. The whole panorama of nature going on right before your eyes. Insect against insect, worm against worm. All the complicated forces that make locusts stay down in the ground for 17 years. And Japanese beetles come right up on July 1st. Why, you ought to be struck with wonder at the very privilege of being able to what?
Why, Newton, that was the greatest love scene you've played in 22 years.
Well, it makes me mad all through to hear you complain about buying a little bit of spray.
Well, that's all very fine for you and the insects, but when the honeymoon is over, who's going to pay for all this?
Oh, it's not going to cost so much, Annabelle. You always have to do a few things like this in the beginning. You heard what Mr. Kimber said. We won't need any gravel for another 2 years.
Well, as far as gravel's concerned, we're all set. I was just thinking about little things like eating. Because when manure costs more than a sirloin steak, Newton, it makes you kind of stop and think.
Good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon.
I do hope I'm not intruding. I'm Mrs. Douglas. I just wanted to bid you welcome. I live in that little stone house just down the road.
How do you do, Mrs. Douglas? How nice of you.
Oh, come in. Come in, please. Sit down. Excuse the way the place looks.
Oh, I do understand, Mrs. Fuller. I hesitated to come your first day here, but I wanted to bring you a few flowers and say welcome.
Thank you very much. They're lovely.
I bet those are right out of your own garden, aren't they, Mrs. Douglas?
Yes, they are. We're having a wonderful garden here.
I know your house now. I was asking our Mr. Kimber about it. I wanted to know who had that wonderful garden. He said your house is one of the oldest ones down here.
Yes, it's very old. About 1700, we say. I do hope you're going to like it here, Mrs. Fuller. We're always so happy to have some nice new neighbors.
Well, it's lovely country. I'm afraid I'm such a city girl. It's going to take a little getting used to. You see, this was all my husband's idea. He's the barefoot boy of the family.
Mrs. Fuller isn't quite sure what to make of the country just yet, Mrs. Douglas, but when we get this house looking like yours, I bet I won't be able to get her out of it.
My husband would bet on anything.
Say, Mrs. Douglas, have you lived down here since the Revolution? Has your family lived down here since the Revolution?
Yes, I was born in that little house. I've lived here all my life.
Think of that, Annabelle. Say, do you know anything about this house, Mrs. Douglas? When did George Washington sleep here?
Oh, I know there is a legend that Mr. Washington slept here, but I'm afraid that isn't true, Mr. Fuller.
What? He never slept here at all?
No. As a matter of fact, we investigated, and we discovered that George Washington never slept here. It was Benedict Arnold. Would you like to have a map of this place with all the original boundaries? You see, I'm president of the County Historical Society. I think it might be very interesting to you.
Say, I certainly would, Mrs. Douglas, if it wouldn't be too much trouble.
Oh, no. Oh, we're going to have a storm. I better hurry home.
I'll help you to your car.
Oh, please don't bother. I guess I'll have to use this road again. I don't like to drive through the fields with the storm coming up.
The road? Why shouldn't you use the road?
Well, Mr. Prescott doesn't like people using it.
Well, what does it have to do with Mr. Prescott?
Well, it is Mr. Prescott's road, you know.
No, it isn't. It's our road. It goes to his house, too, but it's our road.
I'm afraid you're mistaken, Mr. Fuller. It's Mr. Prescott's road. Didn't they tell you that when you bought this place?
My husband bought it by mail order.
Mrs. Douglas.
Just a minute, Newton. Mrs. Douglas, how are we supposed to get to our house? Jump?
Well, actually, your right of way is through the woods. I suppose in time you'll have to build a road through because after a heavy rain, it's quite impassable. Oh, I better hurry. Goodbye.
Newton, you don't even have a road? Didn't you ask any questions before you said yes? Didn't you read any papers?
Certainly I did.
What, the Inquirer? No way in, no way out. Maybe the government will take it for Alcatraz. assessment, county poorhouse, $21.30. Let's pay that one and move right in.
Boy, it's going to be a Lulu. Listen to that.
Yeah, wait up. Look, I saw it coming.
Say, it sure is dark in here.
No lights on.
Hey, this looks pretty heavy. Hope it doesn't hurt anything.
What can it hurt? That room where Benedict Arnold slept?
Well, because every time to leave.
Oh, winter green for president. Da, 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 da. Winter green for president.
What was that, dear?
I said winter green for president. Want to make something out of it?
Well, nowhere in the country, anyhow.
The car stopped in here. People are getting out. They're coming here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Quite all right.
Oh, sorry to bother you. The rain's been down so hard you couldn't drive. Hope you don't mind for a few minutes.
Certainly not.
We're in very good order here. This is my wife, Mrs. Fuller, my daughter, and Mr. Eldridge. How do you do? My name is Clayton Evans. Oh, and this is my wife, Leslie.
I recognize you right away, Mr. Evans. I've seen you on stage.
Say, I thought you looked familiar, Mr. Evans. What do you know about that? Annabelle, you've seen Mr. Evans. Well, well. Have you got a house down here too, Mr. Evans?
No. We're just down here for the summer. We're staying at the inn. We're acting as playhouse. We opened Monday with the Firebrand. Yes, we were on our way to rehearsal when the storm caught us.
Say, I didn't know there was a summer theater down there. That's wonderful.
If you can call it a theater.
No. We're going to be here all summer. If you're going to start out that way, it'll never get any better. What do you expect from a local theater anyway?
Not much, Clayton. I just like them to put the pigs out before they bring the hams in.
Say, I better close those shutters.
I'll do this, Floyd.
Oh, how I loathe the country.
Oh, maybe we can form a little club here this summer.
Under the windows.
I'll get some rags.
Under the doors,
I'll
too.
get some rags.
Please allow me to help you, Miss Fuller.
Well, maybe we'll all be washed away and we won't have to use the road at all.
The roof's leaking. There's a regular flood upstairs.
Newton's Ark.
I'm right, just a hand.
That's not my equity contract, dear.
Newton, it's raining, Newton, right in our little nest.
ma'am, every time you come through that door, some flies get in.
I see, so it's my fault for coming into the house.
Well, it'd be better if you didn't.
I see.
I'll fix the screen.
You do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I talk to you for a minute, ma'am?
What is it, Hester?
Can I have tonight off, Mrs. Fuller?
Tonight off? Why, you know we're having company, Hester.
But I just gotta have tonight off. My fella, he's driving over from Hattsboro, and I just gotta see him.
Well, I'm very sorry, but this is the first weekend we've been able to have company come down, and you simply cannot have the night off. You can see him next week.
I can't see him next week.
Now, Hester, you cannot come to me at 6 o'clock on a Friday afternoon and expect to have the night off when we have company coming. You can see him next week.
I can't.
Of course you can. Why can't you?
He's getting married.
What? That he isn't your young man.
He is until he gets married. That's why I gotta see him tonight.
Well, all right. Once you serve dinner and turn down all the beds, all right.
Mrs. Fuller, what time do you think the dinner will be done?
I don't know, Hester. You may go when your work is finished. And make sure you take water up to all the rooms and fill all the pitchers and basins.
Yes, ma'am.
Hester, you gonna press those slabs soon? Hi, Mother.
Are you going out? They'll be here in a little while.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Where are the keys in the car?
On the hook by the door where they always are. What are you rushing off to? What are you always so busy about?
Me? Oh, I'm running from there.
Well, don't leave me stuck here. Remember, these are your friends.
Yes, darling, I'll be right back. Don't worry.
What is it now, Hester?
Could I have Annie serve the dessert?
No, you may not. Annie has got enough to do with her cooking. You may go when dinner is served, and that's all there is to it.
Yes, ma'am.
Hester's gonna have a baby. Hester's gonna have a baby.
Come out of there, Raymond. Come on.
You're awful dummy, Annabelle. I knew about Hester 3 weeks ago.
You know, I cannot believe you're my brother's child.
Say, I wonder how Mom is doing in Reno with the Cowboys. I bet you she's in there pitching all the time.
You know, Raymond, you're going to be here for another month until the divorce is over, so we might as well have a little understanding. In the first place, you have been stealing my little chalk figures and selling them to the Quaker antique shop.
Me?
Now, don't deny it. I know you have.
Aunt Annabelle, how can you call your own nephew a thief?
And furthermore, if you do not stop, I'm going to murder you in your bed some night, so help me God.
You know, I nearly killed Mom once. They stopped me just in time. Of course, I was just a kid then.
Oh, Raymond, you kind of fascinate me.
You'll get used to it. Say, here's what that idea. We sneak up a theater. Why, hello, Miss Leslie. And how are you this afternoon?
Out of my way, rats.
Why are you laughing?
You know, I can't decide whether Raymond resembles Attila the Hun or Jack the Ripper.
Well, just another month till the divorce is over. The only thing holding it up now is the custody of Raymond. Neither one of them will take it. Sit down. Would you like a drink?
Oh, I'd love it. After bouncing up and down in that field of yours, I could really use it.
Yes, we're trading our car in for a tank. It's the only way to get out of here. Esther! Esther! Oh, Hester! What do you want?
night, the scenery fell over right in the middle of the second act.
No.
Yeah, didn't make a damn bit of difference. It was just as good. You know, I don't understand actors. They come down here, work their cans off for $1.80 a week, sleep in places that a cockroach would turn up his nose at, and for what? Just to act. So help me God, actors will act anywhere, for anything, and in anything, just so they can act.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, I've been wondering, how did you get into it?
I married one. He was good looking, you know, and he could sling those romantic nothings around on stage and off. So, before you knew it, I was an actress. Clayton's a very attractive man, you know.
Yes, when I saw him in tights in the Boar's Head Festival. No treat coming home with him.
Well, he got away with the ladies all right. It's kind of fun to watch men operate. Now that I'm cured, it's kind of fun to sit in the bleachers and watch men bat that ball around. I say to myself, my God, is that what I fell for? But I did. It's always the same. First the boyish helplessness, and, you know, I was afraid to ask you to go out with me. Then the smoldering look in the eye, and do you mind if I tell you how very, very attractive you are? And then, bam! Don't take all the covers, dear.
I've seen Newton when he's had that one drink too many. He has this sort of codfish look on his face, and with a slight burp he goes into it. It's like, well, you know, Mrs. Peabody, I always wanted to be an explorer. That's what I wanted to be. And when I meet someone like you, I can feel the call of the jungle all over again. Then he spills his drink on her, and he can't go to the office in the morning. You know, they don't have to wear black tights. They all do it. Oh, may I freshen your drink?
No, actually, I just stopped for a minute to talk to you. But now that I'm here, I'm not sure how to say it.
Why, what is it?
Well, now, Mrs. Fuller, this is not the jealous wife speaking. It's just that I like you, and I think you ought to know what's going on.
Going on?
Well, then you don't know anything about it?
No, I don't.
Well, Clayton and Madge have been seeing a lot of each other lately, and if I know this is the signs, she's in a very bad time. Now, ordinarily, I don't interfere, but your daughter's too nice a girl, Mrs. Fuller. Well, now you know, and you can do what you want with it.
Oh, how far has it gone, do you know?
Oh, it's in the early stages yet.
Well, thank you very much for telling me.
You know, it's probably just one of those summer romances, but girls have a way of taking Clayton seriously. In a way, he's like the Japanese beetle, turns up July 1st and wrecks all the pretty flowers. Well, I've got to be going. Would you like me to run over Raymond on the way out?
Hello.
The robe has arrived.
Well, it isn't Sears Roebuck.
Why, hello, Miss Leslie.
Hi.
Hello, darling. Picked up a few things we needed for the place, this and that. Didn't near missed the train.
How'd you come out of the baggage car?
That's the fun of having a country place. You walk into a store and everything you see you need.
Well, as long as you're having fun. Oh my, I've really got to be going.
Oh, can't you stay a little while?
No, I've got to rush home, have dinner, rush over to the theater, put on my makeup, do my hair, put on a tight girdle, walk out on stage and say, Madame is sleeping. Rush backstage, take it all off again. I ought to have my head examined. Well, goodbye, Mrs. Fuller. Goodbye.
Know what this is, Annabelle? Little miracle chicken feed.
Well, you better take a spoonful because I have some news for you.
Bad news? Mr. Kimber quit?
No, we've still got Mr. Kimber. But your daughter, Mr. Fuller, is having a little romance with a married man.
What do you mean, Annabelle? Who?
Clayton Evans.
Imagine Mr. Evans? I don't believe it.
Now, don't just toss it aside, Newton.
Honestly, you women, always seeing the worst in everything. Why, when I was just out of college, I was so crazy about Lauren Bacall, I used to go down to the theater 4 times a week just to see her. But I didn't break my engagement to you and marry Lauren Bacall, did I?
No, you didn't.
Well, even so, it's just too silly, and I wouldn't even talk to her about a silly thing like that. Look, Uncle Stanley's coming
I'm
out.
going to talk to her. What did you say?
Uncle Stanley's coming out.
Uncle Stanley, when?
Tonight, just for the weekend.
Oh, don't tell me you invited Uncle Stanley for this weekend.
But I had to, Annabelle. He called me up at the office and I had to. He's on his way out to Ed and Julia's, and this is the only weekend he has. Steve is driving him out.
Oh, that's just me.
It's only for a couple of days.
Uncle Stanley, the old windbag. No, have to be quiet till he gets up in the morning, and while he's taking his nap. And everybody sits around and, oh, make sure you close the windows because there's a draft. And then he tells us how he made all his money, as if we haven't heard it 700 times before. Oh, Madge's friends will have a wonderful weekend.
Well, they're young people, Annabelle. They'll be outside all the time.
Oh, well, all I can say is, if we ever get any of that money, we've earned it. 22 years of, take my chair, Uncle Stanley, it's more comfortable. Here's the white meat for you, Uncle Stanley. Oh, Madge, look what Uncle Stanley brought you. A package of chewing gum. Say thank you, Uncle Stanley.
Well, we've gone this far, Madge. We can afford to be nice a little longer.
Title buzzer. No wonder he has so much money. Do you realize he's never given us so much as a handkerchief? Just those damn pictures of himself every Christmas. Boy, will I have a bonfire when he goes.
Say, where are those pictures, Annabelle? We better put them out before he gets here.
Oh, they're around. We'll have them plastered all over the place.
And will you be sure to have that roast duck he likes and that very rare steak? And I brought out some of his special brand of cigars and some black cloth for the windows in case the light disturbs him. I can't think of anything else, can you?
No, nothing at all. That's just what I needed this weekend.
Good evening, Hester.
Good evening.
What's the matter with Hester? She got a headache?
She's got something.
Mr. Fuller?
Hello, Mr. Cooper. How's everything?
Fine, Mr. Fuller, but we need more gravel.
I thought we had enough for 2 years.
Yeah, well, I guess we figured kind of wrong. Should I get another load?
I suppose if you need it. How's the manure holding up, Mr. Kimber?
You're pretty low on that, too.
Oh, well, don't worry about that. Mr. Fuller's uncle is coming out.
Mr. Kimber, we don't exactly need that gravel, do we?
Well, it's only $45 a load, and you know how chickens like to scratch.
You see, Mr. Kimber, everything is costing so much more than I figured. The fact is, I'm a little short of ready cash right now. I bought these things you said you needed, but I'm going to have to take it easy for a while.
Yes, sir. You got a payment due on that threshing machine Monday, Mr. Fuller. You're going to have to pay that.
Monday, huh? Well, maybe something will happen by that time. Maybe I'll... yes, sir, it's right over here. Here we go. Little Miracle Chicken Feed.
Well, I thought we were going to get an egg today, but then something happened. Maybe this will help.
Oh, Newton, you forgot to give me that check this morning. I need to pay Hester and Annie and some things around the village.
Oh, yes, I'll give that to you. I'll give it to you tomorrow.
Newton, is something wrong? Are you worried about something?
Me, no. Whatever gave you that idea?
Oh, no.
Are you Mr. Newton Fuller? My name is Prescott. My property's next to yours. This boy here just threw a dead skunk in my swimming pool. And yesterday he put Roosevelt stickers all over my garage. Now I want him kept off my property. Do you understand? Kept off my property. Good day.
Old Republican.
I give up. You're just going to have to do something about this boy.
Raymond, I'm warning you. The next thing you do, I'm going to throw you across my knee and give you the hiding of your life.
I'd like to see you try those, Coop. Didn't even know to buy a farm water. That's how dumb you are.
Oh, Poop. Don't ever talk to me about Uncle Stanley while you've got Raymond around. If he thinks for 1 minute... What's that? It's Uncle Stanley. Annabelle, you didn't put the pictures up.
Oh, I'll have fun.
Hurry up, Annabelle. He's getting out of the car.
Here we go again, boys.
Hello, Uncle Stanley. Hello.
Hello, you old buzzard.
Welcome, Uncle Stanley. Welcome.
Hello there, Newton, my boy.
Are we glad to see you? Well,
Annabelle.
well.
Oh, Uncle Stanley, so glad you could come. Hello, Steve.
Uncle Stanley, you look wonderful. Doesn't Uncle Stanley look wonderful, Annabelle?
Oh, yes, I've never seen anyone look healthier.
Come and sit in this nice easy chair, Uncle Stanley, and make yourself comfortable.
Oh, thank you, Newton. Young man, where's that package I brought out with me? Thank you very much. Annabelle, just a little something for the house with my compliments.
Oh,
Uncle Stanley, you shouldn't have.
nice surprise. Oh, look, Newton. It's a picture of Uncle Stanley.
Why do you think of that?
Oh, thank you, Uncle Stanley. I know right where to put it.
That's all right, Annabelle. Think nothing of it. Where's Madge?
Oh, she didn't know you were coming or she would have been here. She'll be right back.
Which way should she go, you know?
Oh, sorry, Steve, I don't know.
Oh, well, I'll find her.
Newton, is there a window open someplace? I feel a draft.
Oh, it's the door. I'll fix it. There we go. Well, Uncle Stanley, what do you think of it?
Think of what?
Why, the place, Uncle Stanley.
Oh. Very nice. Nice little place. You fixed this all up, Annabelle?
Uh-huh.
She certainly did, Uncle Stanley. Why, you should have seen this place. Annabelle performed an absolute miracle.
Yes, well, I might make just one suggestion.
Of course, Uncle Stanley. What is it?
That chair over there by the stairs, I think it should be out a little bit.
My gosh, you've got an eye, Uncle Stanley. Look at that, Annabelle. Why, it changes the whole appearance of the room. Uncle Stanley, my gosh, you've got an eye.
Well, sometimes you just happen to be in the right place, Newton. I remember once when I was a little shaver. It was when we were living in Pittsburgh, just before we moved to Akron. I was a little shaver at the time, couldn't have been more than 6 or 7. And Mother used to take me shopping with her. Well, I'd never been to a department store before, and this particular day, Mother took me down to the Joseph Horn and Company, one of the biggest department stores in Pittsburgh. And we went up to the rug department.
Linoleum department.
That's right. The salesman, he was one of those young smart alecks. I seem to remember he had a mustache. And he kept showing Mother pieces of linoleum with big red squares on it.
Blue squares.
That's right. Say, have I told you this story before?
Oh, no.
Go right on, Uncle Stanley.
Well, Mother was one of those women who thought that children should be seen and not. As the salesman was about to unroll the last piece of linoleum, I piped up and said,
Oh, the children are here.
Hello, boys and girls. You're right on time.
Hello, Mr. Fuller, Mrs. Fuller.
Where's Madge?
Oh, she's around somewhere. Hello, Tommy. Hello, Betsy.
Hello, Mrs. Fuller. Oh, I don't think you know me. This is Mary. Welcome, Mrs. Fuller. Mr. Fuller.
This is my uncle, Mr. Manager, Uncle Stanley. These are friends of Madge's. This is Sue, and excuse me,
Miss Wilcox.
Miss Wilcox, and Tommy, and
Betsy.
oh, Betsy.
how do you do? How do you? Would you mind closing that door? There's a draft.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, you're all up on the 3rd floor. I'll take you up and show you your room.
Oh, no, we can find them, Mrs. Fuller.
Well, all right, then the girls are in the room at the top of the stairs with the strawberry wallpaper. And Tommy, you're in the little blue room at the end of the hall.
We'll find them, Mrs. Fuller. Thank you.
Is Steve here yet?
Oh, yes, he's around. And Madge will be back in a minute. She just went out for a little while. Are you sure you're all right?
Oh, fine. We're all right.
It's a charming
my favorite. And you know what? Well, never you mind, but just remember, Uncle Stanley doesn't forget. Now I guess I'll go up to my room and freshen up a little bit.
I'll bring your bags up and help you unpack.
Thank you, Newton. Oh, I forgot to bring any cigars out with me.
Ah, we think of everything, Uncle Stanley. Look what we have here. Coronas. And here are those little candies you like to take the taste of the cigar out of your mouth.
Oh. Thank you very much, Newton. You really know how to make a person feel right at home.
I'll go up with you and make sure you have everything you need.
What was that story you were telling, Uncle Stanley, when the young people came in?
Oh, yes, the department store story.
Yeah.
I was just a little shaver at the time, couldn't have been more than 6 or 7, and Mother took me to the rug department.
Linoleum.
What happened then, Uncle Stanley? Tell us what you said and how the salesman looked when you said it. Say, there's a little bright place way over there. Maybe it's going to clear.
Oh, you've been looking at that same spot for 2 days now. You're just stir crazy.
Oh, sweet mystery of life, at last I found you.
Mr. Manager.
Sorry.
Has anybody seen the Sunday paper? Not a soul, Mrs. Fuller. Mr. Manager has been sitting on it since 9 o'clock this morning.
Trying to get the sports section out on her, but no luck.
He's been sitting on him long enough to hatch out Monday's paper. Oh, you want something to swoop us? Will there be anything else, Mrs. Fuller? No, thank you, Hester. Well, if I can get you anything at all, please let me know.
Anybody care for something to drink? Sue? Miss Wilcox?
Say, where's our playmate this afternoon? Dead ain't kid.
Oh, he's around somewhere. Don't press your button.
Quite a nephew you've got there, Mrs. Fuller.
Yes, we had a little encounter with him last night. Just as we were going to sleep, a little voice from under the bed said, "These things are highly overrated."
Newton, did you hear that?
Well, I'll go see how the weather looks. Looks a little clear over there.
Go over there, will you? Say, Tommy, did she ever say anything?
Oh, yeah, she talks.
Well, have her say hello before she leaves, will you?
Yeah, just lovely, hasn't it? Rain for 2 solid days.
Oh, hello. Must have dozed off there. Have I been asleep for long?
Since 9 o'clock this morning.
Newton, is that door open again? I feel a draft.
Oh.
The reason I'm so fussy about drafts, when I was a little shaver, couldn't have been more than 8 or 10, and my seat in school was right next to the window. And I kept getting terrible colds. Well, one day I sat and looked up and I said, if I put a little wooden block up in that pulley, they'll never be able to open that window again. So you know what? That's exactly what I did, and they never could open that window again.
What do you know?
What was that?
Raymond, come out of there.
Come on, Raymond.
If you didn't have any money, would you have trouble with those stories?
What, you?
Oh, gee.
Newton, if this were my house, I'd give that young man a chastising he wouldn't soon forget.
Wait a minute. Here we are. There she comes. I told you it was coming. I've been watching that spot for 2 days.
Hey, come on, Ray, let's go swimming.
Oh, good, I'm dying for us to run. Leave that sun, will you? Come on, man, aren't you going?
Yes, I'm coming.
Well, you certainly are a gracious hostess. I'm definitely awfully glad to be here.
Stop pestering me, Steve.
All right, I'll stop.
Newton, close the door. There's a draft. I think I'll go up to my room and take a nap. Do you know that there was a fly in my room last night, Newton? Kept me awake all night.
Well, I'm sorry, Uncle Stanley. You sure you want to take that walk?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm just going to go upstairs and take a little rest. Say, Newton, would you hand me my papers? Where's my Sunday paper?
Say, what could have happened to them? Oh, Annabelle, you're sitting on Uncle Stanley's paper.
Pardon me, just keeping them warm for Uncle Stanley.
Here you are, Uncle Stanley.
Thank you, Newton. I hope those young people don't make any noise up there. We should buy a house with wider stairs.
Oh, I wish a draft would run right upstairs and hit him in the right place. What's all this beautiful walk and talk with Uncle Stanley? Don't you get enough of him in here? What's the matter with you?
Well,
Oh, Miss Wilcox. Hello.
Stop that noise. Stop it, I tell you. I'm taking a rest.
Who the hell cares?
oh, dear.
Mr. Fuller! Mr. Fuller! Mr. Fuller, we struck it! We struck water!
No kidding.
Yes, sir. Darndest thing I ever saw. 40 gallons a minute.
Are you sure it's water, not oil? I'd rather have water.
Oh, it's water, all right. We struck it 2 hours ago, but I wanted to check before I told you. 40 gallons a minute. How's that, Mr. Fuller?
Fine.
What do you think of that?
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, Mr. Fuller, you just put down a well on my property. You're drawing all my water.
What? Why, Mr. Kipper? No, we ain't. That well is on our property.
Don't tell me. Look at your deed. At the ends of the brook. Why don't you look at your deed first before you send a man out to dig a well anywhere he wants to?
No, Mr. Prescott, can't this be adjusted? You see, we've been trying to find water for 3 months now. And even though the well is on your property, couldn't we use the water?
Look, madam, this well that you put down is tapping my spring. I don't have any water. I just tried to fill my swimming pool and there's no water. There's no water anywhere in the house. Now, is that clear?
Yeah. No wonder we got 40 gallons a minute.
Well, Mr. Fuller, are you going to plug it up or am I going to have my men do it and send you the bill?
Better go out and tell them that, Mr. Kipper.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Mr. Prescott. And now, if you're so concerned about private property, why don't you get the hell off ours?
I'll be glad to, Mrs. Fuller. Oh, and it may interest you to know, by the way, that I'm on the board of directors of the bank that is foreclosing this property, and that I will take great personal pleasure in escorting you next Tuesday off of it. Good day.
What did he say to you?
I didn't quite understand him, Annabelle.
Come on, Newton, I want the truth.
Sorry, Annabelle. Just didn't have the heart to tell you.
It's all right. Just a bit of a shock, that's all. Foreclosing.
It's just that everything cost so much more than I figured. I had enough money in the beginning, but it just melted away.
Oh, why didn't you tell me? Why'd you carry it all yourself? I would have understood.
Well, I'm the one who got us into it, and I knew how you felt about it, and somehow I just couldn't.
Oh, you know, I was really beginning to like the place. I was beginning to like it a lot.
Were you, Annabelle? Were you really?
Oh, $5,000. How much can we get on your insurance policy?
I've done that already.
That's the day after tomorrow.
Yes, I've been going nearly crazy. I don't know how I got through these last 2 days. I've been going nearly crazy. There's just one chance, Annabelle.
What?
Uncle Stanley.
Oh, fine chance that is.
Well, you can't tell, Annabelle. He might. After all, I'm going to get the money someday. All I'm doing is asking for some of it now. Just $5,000 to save the house. He ought to be willing to do that.
Well, guess we could try. He might do it.
Yeah.
Why don't we tackle him together? Well, far enough ever. Oh, he must give it to us. He must.
Well, excuse me.
What's all that?
There's a hell of a situation up in here, up in here. There's a hell of a situation up in here.
Stop that singing! Don't you ever think of anyone but yourself?
We've got to do something about Raymond.
No, you old fool-face, do you? There's a hell of a situation up in here, up in here.
I'll tend to you. Newton, I'm packing up and leaving this instant. I won't stand that boy any longer.
Oh, now you'll do no such thing. Why, you've just been so sweet about the whole thing, I can't tell you.
A saint, that's what he is. An absolute saint.
Well, I'm not a saint or anything, but I don't want anyone to think that I'm fussy.
Fussy, you? Did you hear that, Newton? Uncle Stanley said he was fussy.
The idea.
Uncle Stanley, come sit in your chair. Newton, close that door. There's a draft on Uncle Stanley. You know, while you were upstairs, I started thinking about that story all over again. That little block of wood.
Yes, that was a clever idea for a little shaver.
Only 6 or 7, that's all he was, Annabelle.
Oh, no.
How about a cigar, Uncle Stanley? Would you like a cigar?
Here. I've got it. All right, there you go.
Did you say roast duck for dinner, Annabelle?
I did, with that special stuffing. And dessert is a surprise. My surprise.
Kind of like your old Uncle Stanley, don't you, Annabelle?
Oh, Uncle Stanley. Uncle Stanley,
Yes, Newton.
there was a fellow in our office, I don't know, about 15 years ago, and he had an aunt that was going to leave him a whole lot of money. And this fellow got in some trouble or other, and he had to go to his aunt and ask her if she'd give him some.
If she did it, she was a damn fool.
Well, Uncle Stanley, Newton's trying to tell you something. You see, we're going to lose this house if we don't get $5,000 by tomorrow. Will you give it to us?
$5,000?
Well, we wouldn't ask you if we weren't absolutely desperate. We just thought if Newton could have that much of his inheritance now, why, that wouldn't be too much to ask.
You see, Uncle Stanley, this house means a great deal to us. We've never had anything that was really ours before.
And it would just break Newton's heart if he lost it. I know it would. Will you do it for him, Uncle Stanley?
It would be wonderful of you.
You people amaze me. You go out and buy things you can't afford to pay for.
Well, surely a man of your means.
That has nothing to do with it, Annabelle. You people go ahead and do this thing, and then you expect me to bail you out of it.
I'm sorry, Uncle Stanley. Maybe I shouldn't have. But this can't mean very much to you, and it means a great deal to me. I think you ought to do it.
Newton, I'm shocked. I'm surprised at you. You're the first one of my nephews that has ever asked me for any money. And just as an example to all of you, I'm just going to have to say no.
I'm not going to let you say no, Uncle Stanley. That money would mean more to me now if I could keep this house than anything you might leave me afterwards. I think that if you won't do this for me, why... Please say yes, Uncle Stanley. It means just everything to me.
Newton, Annabelle, there's something I have to tell you. I don't have a damn cent.
What? What are you talking about?
Not a damn cent. Lost it all in 1929. Went clean broke.
You're joking.
No, I'm not.
I just can't get it. You're my rich uncle. You always have been. The factory in Pittsburgh, your offices, Stanley Literature and Company.
Well, the building's still there. Bank's owned it since 1929. I get $100 a month for the use of my name, and they send my mail on to me wherever I am. And that's all. You won't tell Ed and Julia, will you?
I don't understand. You haven't any money? I just can't get it through my head.
Since 1929? Why didn't you tell anybody? Why'd you go on fooling all of us?
Well, Annabelle, I'll tell you. When I I walked out of my broker's office in 1929, I didn't have a damn cent. And I said to myself, you know what you're going to be for the rest of your life? You're going to be nothing but a poor relation. No more white meat, no more comfortable chairs, no more Coronas. And I didn't like it one bit. And then I thought to myself, and I said, hey, if you can keep them thinking that you're still rich, why, you can have a wonderful time. Winters in Florida, spring in California, summers in Maine. I was quite pleased when you bought this little place, Newton. Now, wouldn't I be a fool to give all that up? Gosh.
Well, that's the dirtiest trick I've ever heard of.
Well, look at it this way. Think of all the happiness and pleasure I've brought all of you just dreaming about all the money you're going to inherit. Meanwhile, I didn't really do anybody any harm. $5,000. $5,000. If I had $5,000, do you think I'd be here? Hell, I'd be over at the Stork Club.
Well, that's that.
Look, Mrs. Fuller, I have to get back to town. You don't mind if we leave before dinner, do you?
Steve, is anything wrong?
No, there's nothing wrong. It's just that I have to get back and I may as well be going. So, if you don't mind, excuse me.
Well, Steve, please stay for dinner. Do that for me.
Well, Mrs. Fuller, if I stay, it will only
Well,
be-
Mr. Fuller, it's finally happened.
What has?
Your daughter and my husband are running away together.
No, Madge is upstairs. I saw her go up.
No, then she must have gone out the back way, because she's sitting with her suitcase packed right now with Clayton at the Colonial Inn across the Delaware.
I knew it. I knew it was going to happen.
You think we can still catch them, Miss Leslie?
I think so. I came as fast as I could.
Newton.
I'm
I
sorry.
know how to handle this.
Mr. Fuller!
We're crossing the Delaware, too. Come on!
Good morning.
That's my girl. Here's 10 cents. Buy something for the baby.
Baby, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, then you're in for a hell of a surprise.
Good morning. Is your uncle in? Oh, I'd really like to see him. I have a map here for him, and it might be important. Yes, I promised to get a map for him of this place, and I finally got it. And it shows something very strange. Unless I'm very much mistaken, this map, and it's the original deed, shows that Mr. Fuller's property goes way over into Mr. Prescott's place. Think of that. According to this map, Mr. Prescott's road and his well really belong to Mr. Fuller. That's why I really want to see your uncle right away.
Say, the road and the well belong to Uncle Newton.
Yes, isn't that astonishing?
Say, oh, but Mr. Prescott would get anything to get his hands on that map.
I imagine he would.
I'll bring it up to him, Mrs. Douglas.
No, thank you. I think I'd better give it to him myself, don't you?
Oh, didn't you hear, Mrs. Douglas? Uncle Newton is sick in bed. He's got some kind of blood disease.
Oh, dear.
I'll bring it up to him, Mrs. Douglas.
Well, all right. You're a fine boy, Raymond. You will be careful of it, won't you? It belongs to the museum. I wish I had a little boy like you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Mr. Prescott's house, please? I don't know the number. Mr. Prescott?
together, Mr. Kimber. You might get something very interesting.
Yes, sir. Oh, I got some good news. That cow gave milk last night. Just suddenly came through.
That's good. I'll be out after a while, Mr. Kimber, and we'll go over everything.
Yes, sir. It'll sure be a long time before their real estate people find another sucker.
Newton, I just thought of a way we might be able to save this house for you.
Hey, Uncle Stanley, what is it?
Well, sometimes if you write a letter to Mrs. Roosevelt, the darndest things happen. Newton, she's always doing strange things like that. It's worth a try.
There isn't time, Uncle Stanley.
Well, I just said goodbye to the Japanese beetles. They're gonna miss us. They love that spray we bought for them.
Annabelle, Newton, I just want both of you to know how truly sorry I am that I didn't have that money to give you.
Oh, that's all right, Uncle Stanley. Doesn't matter now.
Well, it's a shame, just the same. Say, I have an idea. Now, Ed and Julie and the others, they don't know that I don't have any money. So you could sell them your share of what they think they're going to inherit. And that way, you'd have the $5,000 to save the house, and maybe a little more on the side. We could split it 3 ways. Damn good business proposition.
Uncle Stanley, you're as crooked as a corkscrew.
No, I'm not. Straight business.
I don't think we can do that, Uncle Stanley.
Okay, it was just an idea. I guess I'll go down to that little general store and buy some White Owl cigars.
You know, Newton, Uncle Stanley is really just Raymond grown up.
Well, I was thinking of giving the cow to Mr. Kimber, Annabelle. I'd kind of like to make him a present. I don't see how we could use it.
No, it'd be kind of cramped in those 2 rooms we'll be living in.
A lot of other things I'll have to tend to, but I just can't put my mind on them right now. Will you call the storage company about the furniture, Annabelle?
Sure. Oddly enough, Newton, there are a lot of things about this place I'm going to miss. Just little things. Walking upstairs. You know that feeling of a house you get when you walk up a flight of stairs? Puttering around and knowing everything's yours inside and out. Well, you know, one night last week I couldn't sleep, and so I came downstairs and went out in the kitchen and got an apple. And I came in here and sat down just by myself. Then I wandered outside and walked around. And for the first time, Newton, I knew what you meant. About coming back here and having a place like this and what it does to you. And I began to feel very grateful to those old boys who fought around here. Yes, sir. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of the Japanese beetles. I'm going to miss it.
Gosh, Annabelle, it makes me awful happy to hear that. You know what? Let's save up every penny we can, and maybe in 5 years or so, we can get another little place. Because that's what we both want now. We get another little place.
Only with water.
Sure, only. I wish we could keep this place.
Well, we can't. And I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm going to have a drink.
At 10 o'clock in the morning, Annabelle?
I suggest you have one too. It'll make us both feel better.
Well, all right.
Here you are.
Well, here's to our new place, Annabelle. Here's hoping.
I'll drink to that.
Well, here is the erring daughter. Feeling even more like a village did last night.
Why? What's going on here? Just drowning the mortgage, dear. Care to drown Mr. Evans?
No, I'm the one who ought to be drowned. I should have had more sense in the beginning. Guess I'll never see Steve again.
Tell me, Dad, when do we get thrown out?
Tomorrow, I'm afraid.
Oh, house gone. Steve's gone. To make it perfect, I have to tell you I'm going to have a baby.
Oh, don't make it perfect. It's good enough right now.
Well, if your instinct's messed up, just ask me. I'm the girl who can do it. I feel worse about Steve than anything I've ever done in my whole life.
Poor Madge.
Have another drink, Newton. I'm going to.
In the morning, Annabelle?
It morning when we had the first one. It's after that now.
Did I tell you the cow gave milk last night, Annabelle?
Really? To whom?
Mr. Kimber.
Recognized him, huh?
You never liked Mr. Kimber, did you, Annabelle?
Oh, Mr. Kimber's all right, if you don't have a place in the country.
You know, this drink makes me feel a little better.
Oh, Mrs. Fuller, what time would you like to have lunch?
Lunch? I don't know. Newton, do we want lunch?
No.
No, we won't want any lunch, Hester.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Hester.
Yes, ma'am.
Newton, shouldn't we tell Hester?
Oh, yes, Esther. We're leaving here tomorrow for good.
Sorry about the short notice, but we only just found out ourselves.
Oh, that's all right, Mrs. Fuller. I'm getting married anyhow.
Getting married, then you got your young man after all.
Oh, no, not him. He married another girl yesterday.
Oh, well, then I don't understand.
Well, you see, he had his brother come down and talk to me, and as it turns out, I'm going to marry his brother.
But Hester, what about the baby?
His brother. It's all the same family, you know.
Love the truth. Takes care of Hester. Say, what are we going to do about Wayman when we go, Annabelle? We got to decide about that.
Let's not say a word to him. Let's just move out and leave him.
I'll drink on that one, Annabelle.
Feeling better, huh?
I feel fine. You know, isn't that funny? I was just thinking, maybe this is why people drink.
Maybe you got something there.
Oh, we got any bigger glasses, Annabelle?
So sure, over by the fireplace.
Oh, you get your own bottle while you're over there. It's easier.
I feel much better. Say, do you mind if I give you a little kiss?
Oh, I love it, Newton.
There.
Thank you, Newton.
Don't mention it.
Annabelle, Newton, I just thought of another way we can save this house.
Oh, forget it, Uncle Stanley. Have a drink.
Oh, get him his own bottle, Newton.
Here you go, Uncle Stanley. Take one of these big glasses. You can get more in them.
Say, you finally got the right idea. This is what got me through 1929.
Uncle Stanley, how much money didn't you have?
Hey, I was rolling in it. You know, I could never understand why it was so tight back then. Every Christmas I used to say to myself, you know, you ought to go out and buy nice presents for the nieces and nephews. Make it a real Christmas for them. Then I'd think about it and I'd say, the hell with them.
Here's to Uncle Stanley.
Here's to Uncle Stanley. I don't know why.
He was a good fellow when he had it.
The hell he was.
Say, what is this, Tobacco Road?
Why, hello, Miss Leslie.
Hi. Leslie, a bottle, Newton.
Surest thing you know. Here you are, Miss Leslie. Take one of these big glasses. We're ahead of you.
Oh, I'll catch up, Mr. Fuller. Say, you haven't introduced me.
Oh, Uncle Stanley, this is Miss Rena Leslie. Miss Leslie's an actress.
Nice to meet you, Miss Leslie.
Nice to meet you. Glad to get a load of you, Uncle Stanley. I hear you're quite an actor yourself. Playing that rich uncle all these years. You had quite a run, didn't you?
Yup, since 1929.
Wait till Ed and Julia find out. Oh, and Dot and Al, and Bill and Barbara. I'm not going to tell them. Let them go right on kowtowing next 20 years.
That's damn generous of you, Annabelle. Damn generous of both of you. I always said you were my favorite niece and nephew.
Oh, the hell with that stuff, Uncle Stanley. Just be yourself.
Oh, winters in Florida, spring in California, summers in Maine, and all that little shaver stuff. Pour it on, Uncle Stanley, pour it on.
Oh, you go on tour, too.
I didn't know.
Mr. Fuller?
Yes, Mr. Kimber.
Been waiting outside for you, Mr. Fuller.
Oh, Newton, get another bottle.
Here you are, Mr. Kimber.
For me?
Certainly.
Is it all right with you, Mrs. Fuller?
Sure. Newt, bring in the Japanese beetles, too.
Newton, is that door opening? And I feel a draft.
Go right on feeling it, Uncle Stanley. Say, Uncle Stanley, show Miss Leslie one of your business cards. Stanley Manager and Company, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Now, Newton.
Oh, come on.
Well, all right. They don't really mean anything anymore.
Get a load of this, Miss Leslie.
Say, engraved and everything. Well, they fool me.
I ought to say biggest liar since 1929.
I'll never smile until I smile again.
Say, I almost forgot. I came to say goodbye. Oh.
Goodbye.
Yeah, I'm through with the summer theater. I don't mind a rustic touch now and then. But when you walk into your dressing room and find that a couple of birds have built a nest in your brassiere, it's time to pack.
You're leaving, we're leaving. Everybody's leaving. Too bad.
Too bad. I got so mad outside just now, Mr. Fuller. I was talking to Mr. Prescott's caretaker, Mr. Perlberg. Mr. Perlberg said Mr. Prescott's going to buy this place tomorrow.
What do you think of that?
Isn't that nice?
Mr. Perlberg says Mr. Prescott ain't going to have no more trouble with people building roads and digging wells and doing all those sort of things. And you know what I said to him?
What?
I just didn't answer him.
That's telling them.
Certainly is wonderful. Our working like dogs around this place, and Mr. Prescott gets it.
No, that's the way it is. The second payment is not made, we lose the property. Shall revert to the original owners in its original condition or be subject
In
to...
its original condition, huh? And Mr. Prescott gets it? Well, let's revert it to its original condition.
What?
Let's leave this place just the way we found it.
Hooray!
Whoopee! Mr. Kimber, remember that junk? We'll get that old watering can and all that stuff.
Annabelle?
Stuff over here.
What do you want me to do, Annabelle?
There's lots of windows upstairs. Why don't you go up there and break every damn one of them? Get busy.
Okay.
Whoa!
Hester, bring in some garbage and plenty of it.
Here you go. Here you are, Mr. Kimber. We want it right in the center of the room. Bring in the gravel. I want the gravel.
Was there gravel here when you were staying? There was everything here. Oh, Mr. Kimber, bring a pickaxe and a saw and a couple of hatchets.
Say, give me those curtains, Miss Leslie. I'm going to stuff up the chimney and make it smoke real good.
leak real good. Chop a big hole in it. Okay.
Remember, we still got manure.
Oh, yes. Manure.
What the hell was this place like when you moved in?
You'll see. Mr. Kipper, put the cow in the kitchen. Come on, Miss Leslie, help me restore the stairway.
Oh, the monkey wrapped his tail around the flagpole, around the flagpole, around the flagpole.
Oh, here's the garter you want, Mrs. Fuller. Oh, just leave it there, Hester.
Say, what do you think?
Say, grab an axe and restore the place to its original condition.
Wait, stop! Stop!
Wait!
A hell of a thing has happened! Stop!
Steve, you're back.
Yes, never mind that. Listen, the place is safe.
What are you talking about?
It's Raymond.
Raymond, what happened?
When?
Raymond fell down the well. We got there just in time.
Raymond fell down the well. Where is he now?
He's still down there. We got there, and Raymond was swimming around holding the map out of the water.
Map? What map?
This map. The old map of the place Mrs. Douglas brought you this morning.
Let me see that.
Look, it shows that we own the road and the well and everything. Raymond was going to sell to Mr. Prescott without your knowing anything about it.
My God!
I knew.
We got my surveying instruments and went over the whole thing. Your property goes 64.5 feet into the Prescott place.
The whole road is ours, and so is the well.
All this, and Raymond too. Are you dead sure, Steve?
Absolutely.
Well, folks, what do you think? Miracles still happen. We still got the house.
I can't believe it.
I sawed a heck of a hole in that house. Why did you all stop working?
Uncle Stanley, why do you think this happened?
Now listen to me, Mr. Fuller. What the heck is all this stuff? Now listen to me. I've stood all I'm going to stand. The next time one of you people steps on my property, I'm calling the dogs out and letting them loose. I'm warning you.
Ah, but those dogs are on my property, Mr. Prescott. We'll go into court anytime you like. And meanwhile, I'll thank you not to use our road.
Now let's get one thing straight. At 12 o'clock tomorrow, you're losing this place and I'm buying it. That's the important thing. You may have the old deed, but you don't have the $5,000.
Oh, yeah. God, I never thought of that.
Well, it's something to think about. My lawyer may have been very careless about the property line, but thank heaven after tomorrow it won't make any difference. Now, do you understand me completely? And also, if you don't stop wrecking this place, I'm going to have you hauled into court. It seems to me that all of this was being done with malicious intent. You people have been nothing but trouble ever since you arrived. But fortunately, after tomorrow, it won't make any difference. And
Surprise, surprise! Newton? Annabelle? Why, what's happened here? Am I too late? I brought the check.
Check?
Yes, the $5,000 you told me about. I brought it down myself.
Oh, yes, yes!
Pardon me, I don't think I know this gentleman.
Oh, this is Mr. Prescott.
Oh, Mr. Prescott, Stanley J. Menninger, Menninger Ball Bearing Works, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My card.
Thank you, Uncle Stanley. Well, Mr. Prescott, it seems that the property will still be ours, and so will your road and your well. You see, Uncle Stanley, we've been having a little dispute about boundaries.
Boundaries, you say? Well, I'll just have my legal staff come on.
oh, I don't think we need any lawyers, Mr. Manager. Why don't you and Mr. Manager come to my place this afternoon, Mr. Fuller? You know, I have a little chat.
Well, I think that under the circumstances, I should just give the check to my nephew and have him come over and get all the details with you, Mr. Prescott.
Why, thank you, Uncle Stanley, and I won't forget how generous you've been.
Hey, wait a minute, he hasn't got me.
What's going on here? What happened?
He must have fainted. It must be the heat.
Oh, he's such a sensitive boy. Oh, I'm sure he fainted again. Oh, my. We'll take him in the kitchen and give him some water. You gentlemen, go right on talking.
don't trouble Mr. Menninger for a check. I'm sure I can loan you the money. And meanwhile, Mrs. Fuller, if you want water, I'm sure I can have my caretaker connect a pipe to that well you dug and bring it into the house. Would that be all right?
Would that be all right, Newton?
Well,
Now, Newton, I truly believe that Mr. Prescott wants to make an amicable solution to this problem you're having, and I think we should go down and have a little chat with him this afternoon.
I don't know, Miss Stanley.
Newton.
All right, Mr. Prescott. We'll be there, 4 o'clock sharp.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Fuller.
Mrs. Fuller? Mrs. Fuller? I got 2 wheelbarrows of manure out there, Mrs. Fuller. What should I do with them?
Well, we won't be needing them anymore, Mr. Kimber. Thank you.
Well, goodbye, gentlemen. I'll see you later. Good day, everybody.
Oh, watch out for those wheelbarrows, Mr. Prescott!
Oh, yuck!
Oh, Stanley! This calls for a drink.
Stanley, I want your picture. And this time I mean it.
Uncle Stanley, you can have me believe you. That's how good you were.
You ought to be in Warner Brothers.
You weren't so bad yourself, Miss Leslie.
Oh, it was nothing. I loved every minute of it.
Fuller. Miss Leslie. Match.
Uncle Stanley, you deserve a double.
Oh, that's easy.
Well, Mr. Fuller, the stage is set, all ready for your entrance.
Well, I bought this place because coming back here meant something to me. Not just to have a roof over our heads, but something bigger. This place stands for something, for everything that seems to me to be worthwhile. So here's to the house and what it stands for. That's all I want to say.
Here.
Here.